second half of the morning. It gives me pleasure to introduce Taha from the University of Washington. He will talk to us about a gap theorem, Steinhaus Conjecture, for general information transformation via Zippered.
So thanks for the invitation, and today I would like to present to you work in progress. Can you wait for my thesis? So given any sequence, let's denote it S. An actual phenomenon to study the gaps that you get when you take a segment S1, S2, up to Sn, that sequence. So that sequence living on 0 to 1 will organize itself as S sigma Sn, 1, S sigma Sn, 2, all the way up to S sigma Sn, Sn1. And the natural thing to ask about would be the gaps that we get for that segment of the sequence. And by that I mean gap 1. So it will just be this distance, S sigma Sn, 1 minus 0, and similarly define gap Sn2 all the way up to gap Sn, which is going to be 1 minus. So, yeah, so studying gaps, so there are lots of sequences to study, and this particular sequence I'm interested in today would be the orbit sequence. S equal to n0, and goes from 1 to infinity, where t is a general integral interval exchange map, or interval exchange transformation. If you go back to the 50s, there was one of Steinhaus conjectures. So Steinhaus conjecture. That dates back to 1957. And said that for almost every 0, alpha up to 1, and any n greater than or equal to 1, which is an integer, the gaps defined by the fractional parts. So 0, alpha, 2 alpha, up to n minus 1 alpha, have exactly 2 for sleeve length. And in fact, if the number of length is equal to 3, then one of them is the sum of the other two. So pictorially, it looks like this. So let's say we take alpha is equal to 1 over the square root of 2, and n equals 9.
So rotation.
Excuse me?
These are rotations.
Yeah, there are rotations.
Okay.
Yeah, so, those alphas, the fractional parts are the image of 0 under the circle rotation of alpha, by angle alpha. So yeah, so if you take those and take the first 9 images, you get the following picture. So yeah, so you take alpha and you rotate around the circle 9 times, and the points will organize themselves this way. And the theorem, I mean, back then it was a conjecture, but it was proved almost in the same year. The theorem said that we only get 3 lengths, and they have to be of the following form. So A, B, A, C. So this is what the theorem says, that after the points situate themselves along the circle, we only get 3 lengths. We don't get anything more than that. And if we get 3 lengths, the same way we see here, one of them has to be the length of the other 2. So in our case, A equals 3 over square root of 2 minus 2. C is going to be 5 minus 7 square root of 2. And B is going to be equals C. So the theorem, in what was the Steinhaus conjecture, the theorem has a long list of people who proved it, starting with Schoch. So Schoch in the same year, 1957. And I have a long list of people who proved it. Maybe I could show it to you afterwards. But yeah, different people proved it for different reasons, using pretty much the same kind of ideas, using continued fractions and some direct combinatorics. And what I would like to speak about today is providing a new proof for that thing. So, Three Gap Theorem by yours truly, 2017, last year. So, the proof goes as follows. So start with the torus. Start at the origin. Yeah, it's called 0. Flow linearly with slope alpha. And then the return map of that slope, return map of that linear flow to this vertical will happen at the points alpha, and then flows again, happens again at 2 alpha, and so on. Yeah, so after you take this point and you flow by the linear flow for time n, you get to your points here. And as you can see, the gap lengths are exactly the return times of this flow, of the vertical flow, with that line segment you have. So, if you go back to, let's say, the beginning of the 60s, so early 1960s, it was known that, okay, maybe actually I should go one back. Yeah, so you take that torus and you shear by h alpha 0 to 1, and you got this. So in that case, our line segment will be a vertical segment, a horizontal segment length n. So it will flow like this. And so when you shear, so your line segment of slope alpha will become a horizontal line, but the vertical return times are not changed. And we get that the gap lengths are exactly the return times segment length n, and this is the part where we go back to the 60s. So, early 1960s, it was known that the return times of a minimal linear flow on a torus to a transversal has exactly yes, 2 or 3 values. So the thing is, if you take this torus and you decompose over coastlines, what you get will be a picture looking like this. So you will get a rectangle decomposition where the heights are exactly the heights of the gaps. This will be C. And in that sense, the Three Gap Theorem is pretty much the statement that if you take a line segment, if you take a minimal linear flow, your torus decomposes into a zippered rectangle with exactly 3 heights. So yeah, so true. So this is just like an interesting observation. We can do some more work, not more work, but we can renormalize by the diagonal like that. And that statement of the Three Gap Theorem becomes a statement about return times to a marked transversal of length 1. So, yeah, that red line will just become a horizontal line of length 1 in the torus 1 per n, 0, 0 per n, h of alpha t squared. And that case you can argue about one particular marked line over the f of s orbits of h alpha t squared in the space of unimodular lattices. Don't have time for that, but again, the average gap distribution you get from the circle rotation can be studied using equidistribution on the space of unimodular lattices as your n goes to infinity. So yeah, this is a proof, a new proof of that thing. Another observation, so credit where credit is due. Marklof and Strombergsson, 2017, so that was 2 weeks after I put my second line. They also prove the Three Gap Theorem using the space of lattices. And their idea, so I can't speak for other people, I can't tell you why they motivated this way, but in terms of what I just wrote on the board, you can see why they did things the same the way they did. So the way they did it was for an interval, R, define f d going from space of lattices, unimodular lattices times d into R is defined as follows. So f of d equals x node minimum y greater than 0, x of y in So what does that function do? So which picture should I reuse?
Lattices are two-dimensional.
Yes. Yes. You want lattices SL2R or SL2G. Okay. So what that function does, I mean, the way I think you should read that function is that we have some lattice. No, we don't have a lattice. We have some torus you get by pushing out by that lattice, and then you have a segment D going out of that. Any point, it doesn't really matter. And then you pick a point X node on your segment D. You shift back. I mean, you just a translation, and then you compute the return time when you flow vertically from X node back to D. So this is how you should look at it back in retrospect, but this is not the way it was originally proved. But anyways, so Marklof and Strombergsson, they introduced this function and proved that, again, we only get 2 or 3 lengths for the return time. And the proof is pretty much the proof you would get that if you take a torus or any translation surface and you hit a segment and flow, you get an interval exchange map of 2 or 3 lengths. You pretty much, I mean, if you're going in that direction, you pretty much can go away from that fact.
This is this pedagogical paper that they wrote for
the
special case of small.
Yeah, so that was a special case, and the important thing for that is that.
When was it published? It's already published, right?
Yeah, I think so. In the MMA.
MMA.
Yeah, so the reason you would introduce something like this, and this is not my work, but maybe I could speak about it during the last few minutes, is that you consider alpha as a linear form, and then you go to higher dimensions, and you think, and you start asking, do I still get a gap phenomenon like this? Do I still get, I mean, if I sample from a higher dimensional lattice, using a D which is getting bigger and bigger, do I still get gap phenomena? And the answer is no. So if you take higher dimensional lattices, you don't get a gap theorem, and maybe I could speak about that if I have time. So yeah, one direction going from that circular rotation example is looking at it as a linear form. You go higher dimensions to higher dimensional linear forms, and you don't get a gap theorem. Another way to look at it, which is what I'm doing, is looking at gap theorems for general interval exchange maps. So hopefully everyone sitting here knows what an interval exchange map is. The circular rotation is the simplest example of an interval exchange map. It's just an interval exchange on 2 intervals. For a general D IT map, we do the following construction. So those will be surfaces I call S or T. It's pretty much the same idea, same geometric ideas. You take a 1 by 1 square, you cut here and you get the intervals, defining your IET, and then you go here, and you go back, and you see and then you apply the same kind of thinking that you start at the origin, so that will be the point 0, and then you flow. Your points go out, and they keep going back and back, and then you get the points T0, T2, 0, and so on. And again, the gap lengths for the general IET will just be the return times. So gap length is for the orbit segments 0, T1, 0, Tn minus 1, 0. Yeah, that's me.
Yeah, should I theorem myself?
Yeah, that's a theorem. Is equal to the return, return times of vertical flow to horizontal segment length 1. Oh no, not length 1, length n. You can still do the renormalization business if you're interested in doing that.
B plus 1 or B plus 2?
Yes, b plus 1, b plus 2. So, it's a basic fact that you should know if, yeah, so starting the 70s, early 70s, people knew that given the translation surface x and given d equal to g plus s minus 1, so that's the genus, that's the number of singularities, the return map of any minimal flow to a transversal will have so it will have d plus 1 or d plus 2. Okay, let me. So the return map of any minimal flow to a transversal will be an IET with or over the intervals. If the forward or backwards flow trajectory, both ends of the segment hit a singularity, just d plus 1 if only one end hits a singularity, and it's d plus 2 if 0 ends. The trajectory of those things hit a singularity. So, yeah, so the number of gaps you get for that surface, for any IET would be the number of heights, or the number of intervals you get when you take the zippered rectangle decomposition of that thing over the line, and during, using a very easy computation, you can see that the marked end, which is 0, is a singularity if and only if pi 1 equal pi, which is the case with subpartition, by the way. So yeah, so you get d s of t plus, d here, by d I mean, try it. The s of t plus 1 plus 2. So this is when time is 1, 1, t plus 1. And this is the other way around. And again, using easy computation, you can see that d for s of t is exactly the number of intervals for the IETT. Okay. So so this proves gap theorem for general interval exchange maps over d intervals, and that's optimal given that, not given, but quantifying over all minimal IETs on d intervals. So it doesn't say anything if you take a particular, if you take a particular family, if you take a very nice family of permutations, or if the lengths had a particular relationship between them, that number will go down drastically. I could give examples.
So sorry, can I ask a question? Had the bound, right? This gap.
So had a bound, but it's it wasn't. It would be an overkill for our case, but still worth mentioning.
Yeah, you should mention.
So Boshonichan said, yeah, I think that was, 1985. So Boshonichan, it turns out that if you take, no, so the gap lengths of the image, or developed by the image of all the discontinuities.
It's only for all discontinuities. It doesn't have anything for a single object.
No.
Oh, really? Oh.
Yeah. But still, you could, yeah, so the gap lengths of all, the gap lengths you get after all discontinuities will be no more than 3D minus 1. And the idea they do is that, I can't speak about the idea, I don't have time for that, but is that they take the gap and then they pull it back by the inverse of t, and they form a weighted graph where each gap has its length as its weight, and each edge has the intersection of this gap, and the inverse of this gap, and that gap as its weight. And you sit down and you do that. You see that those weighted graphs have to have at most 3D minus 1 lengths for the edges, not for the edges, for the vertices. You can apply the same idea here, exactly the proof, word by word, and get 3D minus 1 upper bound, which is again too bad. But you could, I have another proof for that thing, where I recreate that idea using very, it's not.
Okay, but your result is the first for a single object.
Yeah.
It's really, there was nothing before.
No.
I thought single object.
But again, so you can take this idea and do it with very careful bookkeeping and get the same bound, which is d plus 1 or d plus 2, and you get something extra, which is a relationship between the lengths of the gaps you get. But that's not too nice. You don't get something as neat as one length is the sum of the two other lengths, but you still get a relationship between the gap lengths for a general IET. That's pretty much all I had to say. Yeah, so any questions?
Any more comments or questions?
Yes.
Do you know if this works for linear involutions or non-classical interval exchanges?
No, I haven't tried any of that yet. But pretty much if you can do a geometric construction like that, it will work. But I'm not sure yet. I haven't thought about that. So 2 quick things to say. Why would you care about a gap theorem like that? So if you're a number theorist and you take the Three Gap Theorem, you could get stuff about the average gap distribution. You could sit down and actually compute that. You could think about the reciprocals of the points you get. You can start speaking about the asymptotics. So if you have it, you have the Three Gap Theorem, gives you a little kind of answers. So if you have a theorem like this, it's still not complete. It just gives you an upper bound on the number of gap lengths, but there's too much to say yet. But yeah, if you have a theorem as developed as that theorem, the Three Gap Theorem, you could still speak. You could start speaking about semantic number theory of interval exchange maps. So yeah, so this is why I care about those things. Yeah, this is pretty much it. Any other questions?
Well, we're on a tight schedule, so I guess we should move on.
Okay.
Thank you,